All right, guys, welcome Mario Testani of Filomena's in Franklin Square, New York. Mario, we're very thrilled to have you on. I'm excited for this episode. You guys have been running it since, what, 1973, Filomena's?
Yeah, 72, I believe. My mom started, yeah.
So how did it start?
So my mom came over from Italy, and she was 17, and she just had my brother. It was 1968. They came here. They were living in Queens Village in a cousin's apartment. My dad had been doing construction. My mom was bored at home. She just had my brother, but they had a woman that lived there, her aunt, that took care of my brother, so she went to find a job. She took 2 buses to get to this job to work for an Italian guy. The guy's name was Armando, is in Flushing, Fresh Meadows.
Okay.
So she walks in. Now my mother was 17 years old, maybe 110 pounds. This little Italian woman, and the guy goes, "What do you want to do here?" She goes, "I want to work in the kitchen." He goes, "Listen, I'll let you do it tonight because I need somebody, but I don't think you're going to make it." Anyway, within 8 months, she was actually cooking and leading the kitchen. The woman was incredible. She's just a workhorse. She just retired, actually. She's 75.
That explains a lot.
She just retired.
She's out of there, because the last time I went, she was there.
She's out of there, and she's not feeling great. She got a little bit of dementia, so she's not feeling her best. But it's a lot of years of work, 17 to 75. I mean, this woman went through a lot. She lost a daughter in front of the restaurant, got hit by a car in 1976.
Damn.
So lost a child, had to deal with that by running a restaurant. Every customer coming in and asking about it. I can't even imagine how she did it. You think about children now, you're about to have some kids maybe, and you realize how important that is. So how she did it, I don't know, but she definitely taught me one thing: survival.
Yeah.
So through many bad years or good years, one thing she taught us was, never give up. Don't think about it, just do it. That was her saying. Don't think about it, just do it. I know you know my story. I had lost my wife 4 years ago.
Yep.
And there was moments of really overwhelmed, and she said, don't think about it, just do it. Because if you don't make it, your kids ain't gonna make it.
Exactly. So you gotta be a strong backbone. That's it, no matter what. Yeah, and I remember talking to you after, and you were just like so strong, and I was like, holy shit.
So
I
believe in God, obviously. So I think by the grace of God, I believe in strength that He's given me, and the fact that I could be a good father, good businessman. It's really gotten to me to where I am now, and I've met another woman who's incredible. So my life is amazing.
Awesome.
There's stresses, obviously.
It's amazing. I think every entrepreneur will have stress forever, and that's just how it to be. How you manage it is key. The stress is going to be there, but how can you manage it? And that's always going to be there. So, all right. So early years of the restaurant.
Yes.
So, when did you start working there?
I started working
were you
there.
7
so
or
1972, she had the pizzeria. So 1980, 3 stores down from where we were was a laundromat. So they had gone out of business, and my mom wanted to open a restaurant. That was her dream. So we got rid of she had gotten rid of the pizzeria, opened up the restaurant. It was actually 2 storefronts. It had about 70 people. We just dug out a picture from that, and I got to tell you, I should send it to you.
You should, but put it on this. We'll put on the cover
talk
photo.
About design problems. This place was like, forget it. But it was 1980, so we opened up the restaurant in 1980. I got involved at the restaurant probably at like 12 years old. So 1989. I remember coming home from school, my dad would be like, "Yeah, go put the bottles in recycling. Sort the bottles."
Exactly, and just start.
Go cut tomatoes. No, but I had to play with my friends. He goes, No. You go help your mother. So a lot of my past, as far as work ethic, came from them. Just I realized that immigrant parents don't want you to help them; they need you to help them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So they're not educated. They come here looking for this American dream, and really family was about helping each other. And that's what they taught us. So I was there for them. So 12 years old I started. 1989, busboy, I hated it.
I was going to say, did you like it at that age?
I hated it. I cried every day. Okay. I'm going to give you guys one story. I graduate high school in 1995. I'm at graduation. All right, so my gown is not ironed. My mother was always working, so I had a wrinkly gown. I looked like an absolute burger. All right, so graduation ends, and my beeper goes off. There's no cell phones at the time. I see the restaurant phone number, 911.
That's it, right back.
What the fuck? I said, all right. I walk up to the school. I got on the payphone. I call my mom. I go, "Ma, what's going on? What's the emergency?" She goes, "I need you here. It's busy." I said, No, I'm graduating." She goes, No. Come to work. So
she probably had graduation dinners.
I walked to the restaurant from Sewanaka, cried the whole way there, and I worked.
Holy
That's
shit.
just the way it was.
That's it, though.
But like I said, they didn't want me; they needed me. It was just the way it's just the way.
And when did you understand that they actually needed you? You don't want to actually go there as a kid, but you have to go there.
I'm 47, just about this year. No, probably in my 30s when I was going to get engaged. And, I realized that as I developed more of my skills, that they didn't mean to be that way. They just didn't know any better. They just worked hard. They weren't business people. They just worked hard. I'm trying to be a blend of both, and that's the hard part. We talk about entrepreneurship, and I'm trying to educate myself, right? Trying to find mentors, but it's hard when you're working, 80 to 100 hours a week. So now my goal has been empowering teammates. So that's where we're at now.
That's always the challenge.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge.
Working on the business instead of being in the business, which everybody is, right? Yeah. So fast forward 2005, you and your brother Frank take it over. Yeah. How does that happen? How did it start? Did you guys want to do that? Was it kind of like a situation where you were kind of like not forced to it, but like edged on to do it, or you wanted to do it?
It was very simple. I was, I think, in my 20s, and the restaurant was failing. We had employees there a long time. My mom, like I said, was a hard worker, never a leader. Economy changed. She wasn't able to adapt. Like I said, when you're not paying attention and you're working in your business, not on it, this is what happens. Yeah. So my mom owed the landlord a few bucks. He was actually very good to her, I must say, and like let her, hold on, hoping things would turn around. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, what are we doing? Are we selling it, or are we going to get involved and take it over and like put our noses down and turn it around? So we did. We took over in 2005, and it took 3 years. We paid the landlord back every dollar, plus stayed current. Wow. Started doing some remodeling, some menu changes. And I got to tell you, so then COVID happens. You want to just quick side, COVID happened in 2020.
I was going to say, it wasn't much remodeling until...
Yeah, so remodeling, this is perfect. Immigrant parents, remodeling was like paint it, change the carpet.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was never really
and the carpet
changed.
Too in the restaurant,
Right, so 1980... Then we did a little renovation 90, which was pretty decent, but there was no renovation from 90 to 2020 besides paint, change the chairs, very lipstick. Yeah. So COVID hits, and my wife had been very sick, and I'm home and I'm going crazy, which I love being home every minute, but you need to do other things. So COVID hits, I didn't want to do takeout, other restaurants were doing it. I said, you know what, let's remodel. So my mom goes, all right, go there, change the carpet, paint. I think a little bit more than that this time. So I get a price to demo the restaurant, and the guy gives me a price, $18,000. I didn't have a lot of money at the time laying around, and like the PPP money didn't happen. So I'm like, $20,000. I think I got like 120. I was like, this is going to be a problem. So a friend of mine, Mike Persicelli, he owns Percy Construction, calls me up. So I got this designer doing a pizzeria right now. She just stopped working. Maybe you can call her. She could help you out, get a price. So I call the designer. She seems very nice. She gives me a price. Between the demo and the designer, I was like halfway broke. So I was like, this is going to be a real problem. I was all right. Yeah. So I get a few busboys. I'm a doer. We demo the restaurant ourselves. It took 2 weeks. I thought COVID was the end of the world anyway. I was like, yeah, whatever we spend or whatever I borrow.
So you demoed yourself.
Whatever we borrow, whatever we spend, I'm going to have to pay nobody back because it might be the end of the world. I was bleaching my handles in my house, and I haven't opened the door in 2 weeks. So I thought it was over anyway.
Yeah.
So we start the demo. It takes 2 weeks. I do it for $4,000.
Wow.
And at this whole process, as I start to like realize how excited I am, because my dream was always to renovate the restaurant to make it my brother and I's restaurant, not my mom's restaurant.
Gotcha.
We always worked under her shadow. Filomena's. Where's your mom? It took a long time to break that and realize that, no, we're handling it now. Yeah. You speak to us and we'll take care of you. So COVID happens. We end up spending like $700,000. Yeah. So I was in debt, like, I
remember going in there. I don't know why I went in there, but I went in there during COVID. You were there. You were showing me what you were doing. And I was like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah,
because,
it was crazy.
Because, at that time, we didn't know.
It was like the end of the world. So
the gym was closed down.
Yeah, you couldn't even have people in a restaurant. You don't own the building and you're going to spend $700,000. And so anyway, we gutted the whole place. I got the designer, who actually is now my fiance.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So it's amazing how God works. Like, we stayed friendly. Vanessa had passed, and through relationships, right? Life is built on relationships. We ended up falling in love, and we'll be getting married next year. And my kids love her, by the way. So it's like, it's been a real, like,
so a real
godsend. Real godsend.
That's awesome.
So I was gambling on myself, my brother and I. We put it all out there. And I will say, I think that in those times of do or die, you just gotta believe in yourself. I think that's what most people fail, maybe because they just hold back. And I said, this is it. Like, this is my dream. I want to make a restaurant that people in Franklin Square can come to, that they don't have to drive to Toku or Cipollini or anywhere on the North Shore. That those restaurants are all amazing, but the community loses people that going to spend real money.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create something that was Filomena's. It was still family. It was still casual, but it's a good vibe. I hired all young guys.
You guys hit it perfectly.
I built an amazing team.
You guys hit it you still have that family vibe in there. The food is still the best Italian food, in my opinion.
I appreciate that.
And, for real, though. And, it still has that vibe to it where you can go out with, with your wife and have a good night, have some drinks, It's, looking back to 2018, it wasn't that way. That's, I'm completely honest. It wasn't that way then, but you guys did a great job changing it.
I'm 47. I have a lot of friends, right, in their 30s and 40s, and none of them would ever come to my restaurant. I'm not going to lie to you. It would bother me.
Yeah, it's
it
like,
would bother me. So I had a friend of mine, his name was Al, and he came in one day, he goes, listen, I love it here. He goes, you know what the problem is? It's like a funeral parlor. He goes, when at the end of my life I want to come here, because I can't bring a girl here on a date. She'd look at me like, what's going on? And it resonated. You felt that, and I wasn't mad, but I was more like embarrassed. And
but that's a good friend, though, because that created change.
I believe that honesty is the best way.
Exactly.
So he told me, but I was always a person to like act on things, right? So when I had the opportunity, I did, and I tell you, and I reopened the door in July of 20. So So the rule was that you had to have 50% capacity. But because the place looked so great, the truth is, like, I was getting a lot of like you guys, like the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings, and I had these dividers.
What are you going to say, no?
Yeah, I wouldn't say no. If you showed up to the door, I mean, I think I was supposed to have like 48 people. That was my max with that law. And if I did that, I'd be out of business right now.
Yeah, of course.
So I think I was having like 150, 200. I don't know. It was crazy. It was protected. We did do things, but the younger people were okay with like, take this thing down. Oh, take the mask off. It was.
I mean, you had to do that.
Very weird time to survive.
Every business had to do that to survive at that time, though. That was the most messed up part because, like, how, again, like numbers wise, business wise, how would you survive at 48 people through the doors? You wouldn't even pay your payroll. It's impossible. You wouldn't pay your payroll.
So this was the part I didn't understand about the way the government ran it. But at the same token, the people were getting $1,000 a month to stay home, $1,000 a week to stay home, which was a great setup. So then the PPP started coming in, SBA loan. So I got back a majority of the money that I spent right away, which was incredible.
Which was great.
I will say those programs saved people.
Yeah, for sure they did. For sure.
Where I think got hurt was these small businesses that really don't do everything by the book. So if you're not showing, you got hurt. Yeah. Because now you're like, okay, well, I have 3 employees. Well, you don't show these 3 employees.
Exactly.
Even as an owner operator, one thing that old friend of mine told me, goes, just make sure that you're on the books, you're paid well, because you never know when you need that, unemployment or
because it was like what was it
benefits that the
for the gyms
running.
It was like 2.5 times their weekly pay or something like that. It was or something, or monthly pay, whatever
but
it was.
But it saves you,
of course.
Even the program that came out after that ERC, that stuff got me through these problems. These things helped me. So you say about quality of food, and you like the Italian food you serve at Filomena is like one of my things has always been premium ingredients. Like, I don't cheat the guests. You guys come in.
That shows.
I try to buy the best oil, the best fish, the best shrimp. I don't buy farm raised. I buy wild caught. I don't sell tilapias, filet of sole. Like, you come to Filomena's, you're getting premium pastas that they sell. I'm not buying the $10 a case because I want to make more margin. Like, I sacrifice the margin, or I try to charge a little more.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'll tell you, nobody complains.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, it's all about you're going for a nice meal, right? The grilled octopus is hands down the best grilled octopus. That's why I'm always going. I mean, when I'm there, you guys have to give me 2 chickens and 2 pork chops and everything.
Roasted chicken, right?
So you got
listen. So I've been blessed, and we're talking about now what's next. And next is empowering a team, try to bring people in. Got a guy in the kitchen that I really respect, trying to make him have the ability to be a leader himself and mentor him, like.
So I think there's always stages.
Give them the confidence.
And there's always stages, right, for entrepreneurs. There's no timeline of it. It's just like when certain things happen, it's like you have to grow. So like you're always going to be working a lot as the leader, right? But you should be working on different areas and learning different areas of your business, right? And that's what I truly believe in, right? So like you're at that point now where you can empower somebody. That's the best part. I feel like your leadership style, correct me if I'm wrong, is always just leading by example.
Right. So
I always see you in there, leading by example, being the best guy in there, and everybody else follows you. So how are you going to plan to do that without you inside of there, say?
That is the hardest part. And I definitely lead by example, and I never ask somebody to do something that I haven't done or do myself still.
Yeah.
It's getting people to believe that being a leader is what you want to be. Trying to find that next guy that could take my position, who could change his life. There's people that, I believe in corporate especially, that they always keep the pay low. They always hire more and everybody does less. I'd rather pay more and have somebody do more.
And you're saying like less people and pay somebody a good amount of money, right?
Because we're a family business. I can't have 6 hostesses. I need 1 good hostess with a backup.
And people don't realize, like for people that aren't in business, like you're paying somebody $100,000 a year. It's really costing you about $125,000 a year because of payroll taxes and all that stuff. So like there's just different levels to it that you don't realize as a business. So if you have 4 people getting $100,000 each a year, you're really spending about 500 plus on these people. It's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money to make up. So,
and we talk about small business as we started before we started, and that was the part. So we had to build up enough profit to be able to afford to give some more away, right? You know, if you're starting a small business and it's you and your wife or you and 2 employees, most of the time you're not making enough to even survive, right? You're working just to make a paycheck. I'm guessing that most small businesses, I know we did it. We're in business over 50 years, and I haven't started making money until like the last 3 years.
Yeah, you go through stages, right? No. Yeah.
But I was an employee, and I'm still an employee, but you know, the pay is better, and now I could build a business. That's the goal now. Filomena's has always been a family restaurant. Now I wanted to make a business. I think the brand is good, and you know, maybe we start a hospitality group and move forward and have 2 different concepts, 3 concepts, more Filomena's.
You guys should do a pop-up pizzeria.
Yeah, you know, we'll figure it out. But I will say I need to educate I need to educate myself more still. And right now I'm going through, I got a few mentors around me. I'm always trying to, you know, forge new relationships because I don't know everything. And I think that's another key. Like, I don't know everything. I'm not the best. But there's guys who've done it before me, and I believe that they've done it. You could learn it.
Of course. And then now you're making more money now, right? So it's like, okay, use that money to educate yourself too, right? Hire somebody for that. That's
Invest
what you got to do.
yourself.
You keep on reinvesting into yourself, right? Like I just hired somebody else the other day, right, to help improve me in different areas of my performance as a leader, right? And that's strictly it, right? So like it's important, but also going through it and experiencing it, because it's never going to be perfect no matter who's telling you. Every situation's different.
Right.
So like go through it, experience it, and then just like, okay, do this a little bit better. I could have led her a little bit better, led him a little bit better. So
as I educate myself with some reading, I'm realizing that I always thought it had to be me doing everything.
Yeah.
There's people out there that can do it better than you.
Of course.
But they need to be empowered and mentored and taught and given the confidence. And failing is okay. The failing was never okay with me at Filomena's because I always thought that the 26 people that we have working for us, or 23 we have now, depended on me.
And you needed it.
And I did need it.
I
still need it. But yeah, so the hardest part was knowing that, okay, this might not work out today, but I know it's better for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think adapting, like, you know, 50-something years, like I said, if we didn't renovate in 2020, it was over.
I was just going to say, was there a turning point? Like what made you, after all those years, finally, especially during the pandemic, like what made you like say like, okay, like this is what we need? Because obviously now it paid off. And I know a lot of people listening right now are thinking like they're in their business, they're comfortable making whatever it is, say $10,000 a month or whatever it is, right? They're making that money, right? And they're not really sure how to take that next step to $20,000 a month, but they're scared to reinvest and lose a little bit. So like, what was there a moment or?
Well, so my biggest goals were to set myself up where my house payment wasn't hurting me, right? Pay down the house.
Okay.
I always lived way beneath my means. That I think I had to set myself up where, okay, so let's just say Filomena's doesn't work out now. I'm okay. I'm not wealthy, but I have a house to go home to every night.
You'll be all right.
Paid for, and I don't have to think about it.
A lot less pressure on you.
And some people are like, oh, well, you have to live in debt. Like, yeah, that's not me.
Yeah.
Not in a restaurant business.
No.
I don't think as an entrepreneur that's really a good...
No. Unless you're leveraging it for other opportunities. Yeah, that's the only way.
Right, not leveraging it because you're just in debt.
No, not for spending, that's for sure.
So 2020, I think for me was a big deal because, like I said, losing Vanessa and realizing that time is what I'm after. So
that's...
Like, I'm not envious of people's money. I'm envious of the people I know that make good livings and work less than me. And I don't get it. And I always wondered how that was happening.
Yeah.
And I realized that's by trusting, growing, and implementing these new strategies, right?
Exactly. And you just hit it on that's what it is. Like, so like creating new systems in your business, right? That's like, it's the hardest part. Like to lead somebody and create systems for them to follow is a hard part.
It's the hardest part.
That a lot of, I think for everybody.
Okay,
I think,
so that's good to know.
No, I think for everybody. Okay. No, I think for everybody, and you're always going to fine tune those things. It's nerve wracking, number one. And number two, it's a lot of work to like understand that side of the business because you've been in the business so long doing things like tasks within the business. This is completely different. It's like a different job. It's a different job. It's a new job, 100%.
So what you said, and what I believe that now I'm starting to realize is you need to be around people that think like you think. Right?
Yeah.
Or better than you. You know when you say that? Surround yourself with better people.
Yeah.
And that's where these mentors that I have, when I spoke to you before this, is like I want to start putting myself around people that have these ideas of understanding of what we want to do with our businesses. I don't want to be the hardest worker there anymore. I want to give people the opportunity to make more, incentivize it, and let them take it to the next level. And I'll always be the leader of the
course.
business.
And you can still be the hardest worker,
Just
but maybe
different.
not the grunt work. That's what it is. You did the grunt work.
Listen, my fiance, when she first met me during the construction, I'm putting bricks up in the restaurant. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
She goes, you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
I still Windex the windows some days. Depends how I feel. You know? Sometimes I also shy away from these other new responsibilities because I'm comfortable being the waiter,
doing what you're doing,
the busboy, a cook.
And then,
being the leader, very uncomfortable for me. Because I'm not.
And then I'm sure it's very uncomfortable for you to not overstep on, say, if a waiter didn't do something properly, they didn't bring the water out on time, the bread out on time, something like that. Not overstep on them. How do you handle that stuff? Because that's always the hardest part. Is letting go is the hardest part.
That's probably been the biggest part of my growth, is realizing that people are going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I used to be. So I grew up. One of the toughest parts of working with your family in an immigrant family, you're stupid, not good enough, was like lazy. That was like every day.
Yeah, of course.
I would work 80 hours at 17 years old some days during breaks, and my mother would be like, what do you think, you're special? That's the way it was.
You're probably getting paid below minimum wage, if that.
I don't think I got paid.
You got paid at all.
I don't think I got paid. So I realized that nobody wants to be degraded.
Yeah.
I try to build people up. Like I said, you come to Filipinas now.
Exactly.
I got people from Venezuela, El Salvador, Italy. Clearly, I hire a lot of kids from the community, and I love doing that.
Yeah.
I take kids who've never worked before, some of them in their 20s, that never been told they did something wrong, and I've made them understand accountability and responsibility, but in a way that's a little passive, I would say. I'm understanding, because I've been there.
Of course.
I've been there. So do I want to jump and do every job? Yes. What I realize is I can never do every job. I used to have an ego.
Yeah.
The biggest part of me growing was there's no ego. I'm not the most important person there. We are all important. I'm just the leader of that ship.
Yeah. And you can do every job, like that's fine if you want. If you want to do every job, and you should experience it in the beginning because you have to. That's easier to pass off every job if you experienced it.
A lot of my friends opening restaurants, they have money now. They're doing well for themselves.
Yeah.
And most fail.
Yeah.
And if you could afford losing $400,000 or $500,000, $1 million, that's good for you. I can't.
Yeah.
So why? They find a chef in a restaurant. Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him my partner, 10%. I'm going to pay him well. You know how to cook. What are you going to do when this guy has a bad week, month, decides that he controls you now?
Exactly.
So knowing everything just, I think, alleviates that, where they know I could do it. I don't want to do it sometimes.
Exactly.
And I want you to do it, but by no means, like if everybody walked out tomorrow, I could still do parties and make money.
Yeah, you'd be all right.
You know what I mean? Like I could cook, I could clean, I could fix equipment, I could do a lot of things.
And how, you get somebody to come in, how to teach them positions because you've been through it before. It's very hard to teach something if you haven't done it before.
And I believe if you're willing to pay people, and they appreciate the culture you've created,
and they respect you,
and you respect them. Like it's what I'm saying, it's a mutual. I'm not better than the people that work for me.
Yeah.
Whether you never worked before or you've been to work 30 years. We work together. That's the key. We work together. Our goal, to me, the goal of Filomena's is serving guests. This is what I love. I love serving people.
Yeah.
People have parties. I have people have parties at Filomena's that had their communions at Filomena's. That are having now their kids and their grandchildren's parties at Filomena's.
It's amazing.
50 years.
It's amazing.
It's a long time.
And that says a lot about you guys.
Yeah, it says a lot. It says a lot. And like I said, this year was our best year. Year over year since we took over in 2005, it's been better every year. The growth rate sometimes is less.
Since 2005.
Since 2005.
Has it been a crazy increase since COVID?
40%.
Yeah, that's nuts. For a business that's been alive that growth rate that long is pretty crazy.
Was crazy. But I think getting all those new guests, like I said, I never had people less than 45 years old, 50 years old coming to Filomena's. Now I have 30, 20 first daters, teenagers.
Because you pivoted and adapted.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, COVID was an opportunity for a lot of businesses. For gyms and restaurants, it wiped out probably half of them. But the ones that stood strong and they were tough through it, they really have new markets now.
Yeah, reinvestment, I believe, is the most important. Every time I'm thinking about, should I spend the money, I'm realizing that you almost have to.
You have to. So, for an entrepreneur listening to this, though, right now, when did they stop reinvesting and start paying themselves a little bit more? Was there a certain moment that you did that? Or is it because it's always a hard thing. It's for everybody, right? I have those decisions every single day. Should I do this or should I put more money into the business in different areas, into my pocket? Sometimes I treat the business as better than myself, and I give it to the business.
You're still a young man. I'm a little older than you are. So I will say that bothers me more than ever. So my catering room right now could use a renovation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. So there's guys like King Umberto's that they're always investing more money.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you the truth, it keeps me on my toes. I'm not them, but it makes you realize that you got to keep on top of it, because if you don't, what happens is someone else adapts better, the market share you get is less. So let's use Garden City, 7th Street. Tony Stacco's just opened up.
Yeah, insane.
There's a guac shop on the same block. Different, but similar.
Yeah.
Pizzeria just opened up. There's a pizzeria around the block. Whoever adapts best is going to win that war. You know what I mean? Like those wars of like renovation and change. And now, especially if you want the younger generation, what do you need to do? You need to be on social media. So I will tell you that my problem at Filomena's is I'm getting a computer system for the first time in 50 years.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
So we're going to be using Toast, and I'm not going to lie to you, I can't tell you what it's done to me mentally trying to, put the data in and stuff like that.
Of course.
I had to pay an outside company.
It's a hard, yeah,
I can't do it. It's not
hard.
for me.
Of course.
But I need it. And we talked about before this, these other things are going on with the apps.
And then, of course, Ignite will help connect all that for you guys.
So that is the goal now. This is where Filomena's is for me, is realizing that I need to work more in the business, give people opportunity to make more money, build a better team, and be more of the leader, and see if I could do other things with it. Like just to go off. In 2020, at the same time renovating the restaurant, an opportunity came up to buy a piece of real estate in Franklin Square.
Yeah.
So the landlord comes into the restaurant for lunch. Older gentleman, Mr. Tomasone, is a lawyer.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, we're selling the building. You know anybody?" I said, "What are you asking?" And he told me the price, and I'm like, "That's a really good price." So I called a friend of mine. I said, "You have any money laying around, and you want to do this with me?" Because I didn't have enough for myself.
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, let's do it." No, he goes, "Try to get a better price." I can't do that. This is the best price. So we ended up buying it. So besides that he was getting older, I think COVID created other opportunity.
Yeah.
He was afraid that people were going to start working from home, that it's an office building, that people weren't going to come to the office anymore. And I think maybe in Manhattan, the bigger scale, hundreds of employees, thousands of employees, that would happen.
Yeah.
But when you're a small business and you have 2, 3, 4 employees, 5 employees, you can't work home.
If you
work home, it's like you're working.
It's not healthy either.
Your wife needs
right?
you, your husband needs you, your kids needs you. You can't grow a business as a small businessman from the ground up from home most of the time. It's impossible.
No, of course.
And I think going to work in a location creates change.
And culture.
Quietness. Just culture.
But if you're with people, it's like their, the attitude, how they do stuff.
I'm a believer in people.
Right?
Relationships to me forge. Businesses are still forged on relationship. I think whether you're sales-based, gym-based, restaurant-based, insurances, relationships. People want to sell or buy from somebody they trust. And
for sure.
And I really, with majority of businesses still, I don't think I don't think electronics help with that.
Yeah. But then, and they also want to buy from their friends that trust you, right?
Yeah.
And that's how stuff happens organically, right?
Yeah, and you want to come into an office. I don't know. To me, an office is always best. So it's been working out good for us. So real estate is something we've gotten into, and I try to set the same values of my restaurant into our real estate ventures, where we remodeled when we first got in there, invested a ton of money.
Yep.
I wanted
do right by the customer.
Lisis, even though it was COVID, to understand that you want to be here.
Yeah.
We're about to redo the elevator. This is a big investment, but you know what? It needed it.
Yeah.
This thing looks like it's from 1920. I think there's a guy in the basement.
You're doing it now? You're doing it now?
Yeah, about to do it in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
We renovated all the foyers, air conditions. Yeah,
that's the side that people don't see, is all the expense going into it, especially with real estate. They think
liability.
It's easy, right? It's like
that's the part about entrepreneurship that I think employees don't get. It's the liabilities that you take.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to go start your own restaurant. You don't like it here. Okay. You got $1 million to invest into it. $1 million, give or take, whatever it is, depending on what you're doing. So whether you're bothering the money or you have it yourself, you're still against it regardless. So
absolutely.
Absolutely. So what's next for you? So what's next? What are you thinking?
Yeah, right now, like I said, empowering a couple of teammates I have. There's some people who work for me that I really believe in, and becoming a better leader. Family to me is really what's important.
Family.
I will say that my circumstance, starting this new life with Daniela, I would love to do more with my family, because my kids have, they say that, I hate to say it, but it's true. I have a 17, a 13, and a 10-year-old. How many summers do you have left?
Yeah.
So my goal is more time for them. But in the meantime, I'm always going to be a doer and a businessman. So looking for opportunity. And I think there's a lot of opportunity out there still. I think a lot of people, so when I think about restaurants that fail, besides location, not knowing the business, not investing properly, or hiring properly, or training properly, I think people give up as entrepreneurs.
For sure.
I think they let the stress defeat them.
That's the only time you actually really fail, right? Is when you actually give up.
So
right?
I will say that, like my mom's saying, don't think about it, just do it, really is what drives me. Because even when I feel, now that you said it today, I always thought I was the only one who felt these emotions of like stress and I'm nervous, I'm not sure of myself. But I think as an entrepreneur, when you have to make decisions, that's just the way it is.
That's what it is. There's 1,000 decisions floating around your head.
It's exhausting.
A good thing to do at nighttime for sure is just kind of write down what's on your mind for 5 minutes, dump it out on paper. What do I have to attack the next day? The top 3 objectives. That's what I do, helps me out. And then the next day I'll mark if I did it or not. If I didn't do it, it's first on my list the next day. Yeah, so that's just a quick little system to use.
System I just started using.
Just to get it out of your head.
My therapist gave me that one, and I'm going to tell you,
just to get it out of your head so you can just kind of go to sleep, right?
Right. That's what I've realized. The real estate in your head is really so valuable. And if you allow these things to manifest, they take over.
Of course.
They take over. So putting it on paper, that's why I got the yellow pen with me today.
There you go.
What's funny is that I was like, I need to address certain things and I need to get it out of here. Because if I let it sit in there, you find yourself like a year could go by and you didn't do anything.
Good. Communicate with people.
Yeah.
Talk to other business owners because they're all going through the same thing. It helps you kind of understand that.
That's why I think sometimes you see these groups that get together, these round tables.
That's the best part about it.
They're important.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you can't go to an employee.
Yeah. We pay big money for mentorships with all our businesses. And yes, our mentors are amazing for all of them, for sure, 100% help us valuable. But the most value is the people around it in the groups that can help you out just, because they're going through the same thing as you. So
you said, what's the number one thing, a small businessman could do? I think investing in that, building your confidence.
Yes.
And understanding. Because when you're not sure, there are people out there that have been through it. And reading a book takes too long. I'm not going to lie to you.
Of course.
I want to say, reading books, but the truth is, I was working 100 hours a week.
Of course.
When are you going to read a book? Every time I'd read 2 lines, I'd fall asleep.
I'm not a big book reader myself.
I'm an audio guy. I like to listen to people speak, but I like to speak to people because I think we could use an example.
You learn from there.
You learn from each other because you've been there. Oh, you know what happened to me? This is what's going on. And you build confidence. And if it doesn't work out the way you thought, you go back and you tell the story to these guys. And they actually... I think mentors work, women or men, right? They just work. It works. That's something that I'm working on. That's my biggest goal. So in the next year, what's my goal? Free up some time besides family is look for opportunity.
Maybe you can start mentoring other restaurant owners potentially.
I will tell you. So I will say that when you think about your life story, I got a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Even through, you've given me that compliment, and friends lately have said, as I don't know how you got through what you went through, and you're still strong, and you know what? Maybe I can help people.
100%.
If I could get paid doing that, that'd be pretty amazing.
It's a pretty cool feeling.
It's a pretty cool
feeling.
So yes, that is something I actually would like to do is polish myself more to do more speaking and mentoring myself.
Yeah.
I'm just not there yet. I need time.
Yeah, of course. All right. So where can all the listeners find you? What's the best way? Just going into the restaurant?
You got to come to Filomena's.
Just going to Filomena's.
Yeah, we have an Instagram. Filomena's restaurant. Filomena's Franklin Square is our Instagram. Cool. I'm not really a social media guy. I'm still old school.
We're gonna get you with Simmons Media. Simmons Media. Don't worry. We'll get you with Simmons Media.
How do you get contacted? I don't even know.
You.
So. All right.
Excellent.